Good morning, LinkedIn family. It's time for another Coffee with Bob. Today's a Thankful Tuesday. I'm always very thankful to work with new connections, especially those connections that are job seekers as well. Today we have James Gill. James is a job seeker. Whatever y'all can do to connect with him, to follow him, and to engage with him to help him out, would really appreciate it. James, thank you for being on Coffee with Bob. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Bob. I appreciate it from you.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit about what you got going on.
Sure. So I've recently made a career pivot. It's kind of an exciting time for me. I spent the last 10 years of my work career straight from out of college, mostly into the music business. I was a recording studio engineer. I also worked in like sound physics, sound system installation, video installation. And I worked most of the time in recording studios as an engineer, and I also managed a few places. But at about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I kind of felt like I wasn't really where I wanted to be in the long term. And I was looking towards the future. I had recently gotten married, and, as a married guy, you start to think a little
Yep.
more about what you really want, down the line. And I wanted to change. And as it turned out, when I first got out of college, I took an internship in a music marketing firm where I had to learn some HTML and CSS and web design. And I kind of caught the coding bug back then.
Yeah.
And throughout my next 10 years in audio, I did some websites as a hobby. I helped some friends out, and I kind of, self-taught and did a little bit of my own knowledge. So I felt like when I finally did want to make a change, the writing was on the wall for me, and that was like really pulling me. So I started to learn JavaScript, and I enrolled in Full Stack Academy's coding boot camp. I did the course, and then I liked it so much, I applied to be a teaching fellow, which is what I'm currently doing there now, helping the next group of students who are coming after me go through the program. And then come April, my term as a fellow is over, and I'm going out there and hopefully getting my first job in tech.
Wow, awesome! Congratulations! Congratulations on the new marriage as well too.
Thank you.
I understand. When you start building a family, it's time to get into a gig that's going to take you well into the future, and coding is definitely a good place for you to be. I mean, there are a lot of tech jobs out there that are available. Are you only looking in a similar area, or are you looking wide?
I think as far as like the overall tech industry, right now I'm casting a wider net. I'm definitely looking for the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area, or something remote. If it's somewhere else, I have a lot of family roots in this area, and my wife's career is in this area. So, staying kind of around this area. But I'm open to travel if that was a requirement, even traveling often.
Okay.
And definitely, like, as far as different types of tech, anything from fintech to video games to full stack web development, which is really what the focus of my coding
Training.
program was. Yep. But I'm also trying to learn some C++ in my spare time. It's one of my passions to kind of delve even deeper into learning new coding languages and continuing to grow. So I am open if somebody is interested in having me. I am definitely down to listen.
Awesome. And so are you open to like more teaching gigs?
That's a really great question. So I was actually asked about this a little bit at Full Stack Academy, and I thought a little bit about it too. And I used to actually teach music production and audio engineering at like a private music school in Manhattan. I did that. I did night classes, so that was like a part-time job along with my recording responsibilities. And I have a family history of teachers. My grandma was an English teacher. My grandfather was a math teacher.
No.
So I definitely have a little bit of that in my veins. I think, though, what I would really like to do, what I could see myself doing, is getting out there into the tech world now, working in a corporation or a company, mid-sized or large size, or maybe a small startup if the opportunity is right.
Yeah.
And then maybe teaching some night classes again, or doing that part-time.
Yeah.
Because I could definitely enjoy doing it, but full-time, I'd like to actually be out in there.
Yeah.
In the tech world.
Cool. Well, I think, I've been through those boot camps before, and the fact that they asked you back to be to help teach, I think says a lot about the accomplishments that you made during the camp. So congratulations. That's pretty good.
Thank you very much.
So you want to stay within the local area. You're open to, definitely to remote and to traveling back and forth. What about consulting?
That's another interesting thing. And my wife actually started her career doing consulting before moving into full time. And I definitely am open to that as a possibility. Contract work as well, with potential to hire or not, depending on the opportunity. I am an, I am always open to offers and ideas, and I will always give everything kind of like a fair listen.
Good for
So
you.
at the moment, I definitely would say, if someone has a suggestion, I'm definitely down to listen.
Nice. Well, yeah, you have to be open, right?
Oh yeah.
And there are just, now with this pandemic, it's made, remote work possible more than it's ever been, right?
Mhm.
Companies have learned that they really don't need to have people under their thumbs or sitting in a cube to be efficient, right? Being remote, they're definitely efficient. I'm sure you heard about that in your boot camp, right? Is that what they were telling you?
Oh, absolutely. And we did the boot camp remotely. Full Stack does have a Manhattan campus. It's been closed now since March of last year. And so I did the entire course in a Zoom room, which at first was, it's interesting because you'd be a little scared about like, well, am I going to get the full experience? Am I
Right.
going to, you know, be able to be as engaged as I would be if I was in a classroom? But to be totally honest, it was an amazing experience, one that I would recommend to anybody thinking of making this change. And on top of that, the amount of learning and the amount of like extra kind of web resources that came with doing it remotely
Mhm.
gave it a whole new flavor, and it was a very rewarding experience.
Awesome. And that's good for you. I mean, being trained virtually like that remotely gives you an edge up on a lot of guys, who are still kind of navigating and getting used to being remote. So you've got a step ahead. So that's awesome. And because
Yeah,
you recently went through the boot camp, you are caught up on all the cutting edge stuff today, which is awesome as well too.
yeah, no, and I think like for me personally, it got me to a level of comfortability where I can easily say like, if you need me in the office on Monday, but home on Tuesday, or back in the office on Wednesday, I'm absolutely happy to do that. I have no problem transitioning between the two.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, I believe that you'll probably get a lot of possibilities that you're open up to. I'm going to connect you with some people over direct messaging on LinkedIn. If you're not connected to James, if you're not following James, you need to, and you need to take this young man up on some of his skills that he's got, because again, um, going through a boot camp and then having them come back, circle around, and ask you to teach, that is a big kudos to you. That says you did a fantastic job. So I'm going to believe that you are a very talented programmer.
Well, thank you, and I look forward to giving people the opportunity to check out my portfolio, which is also on my LinkedIn, and see kind of some of what I've done. And I'm one of the kind of guys is like always learning, and I always believe you can get better. So I'm excited about like where I'll be in 2 or 3 years too. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Cool. Well, thank you for being on Coffee with Bob. I appreciate it. And
yeah.
I
Thanks,
wish
Bob.
you the very best of luck.
Thank you, sir. Likewise, appreciate it very,
All right.
very much.
Have a great day.
Bye now.